Hi everyone, it's Tamara, your courtroom companion, and in today's video I'm going to talk about how to go about selecting the right attorney for your case against a narcissist or someone who has narcissistic behaviors or tendencies. I'm going to talk about what you need to talk about during your first meeting with a potential attorney. And in a previous video, I talked about the 17 characteristics that your attorney needs to possess in order to go up against your narcissist ex-partner or someone who has narcissistic tendencies. And I'll link that video in the cards above. So you might want to watch that video first, just to kind of refresh your memory about kind of what you need to be looking for. So then you'll know how to go about interviewing potential attorneys. So selecting the right attorney is probably the single most sort of preparation task that you will take. You need to spend significant time selecting that right attorney. I wouldn't do it based just on someone's recommendation or because the attorney is cheaper. There's things that you need to talk about during that first meeting with a potential attorney, and we're going to discuss those now. So first, you need to interview potential attorneys, and sometimes attorneys will give you an hour of a free consultation, and so I've done those as well, but then other attorneys will ask you to pay for that hour, and in my opinion, I have not found it to be successful to select an attorney who gives you an hour of free time. And here's why, I think. I've heard that when attorneys are giving you an hour of free time, it's because they're trying to gain clientele. Attorneys who make you pay for that hour, they already have a clientele and they're worth their time. And so they're not just going to give an hour away. And so, in my opinion, if you're going to interview attorneys, it's okay to go to those that give you the hour consultation, but they're not really going to be able to give you a lot of advice that you can really sink your teeth into because they're not you have not retained them. And that would be true also for attorneys that make you pay for that hour, but generally the ones that make you pay for that hour are going to likely ask you to go ahead and do that retainer, but each attorney is a little different. And one of the things to keep in mind is that old saying, you get what you pay for, and that is certainly true in my experience with attorneys who give away an hour of their time. When you're interviewing potential attorneys, it's important for you to find out first, what is their hourly charge? One, for the consultation, and also what they would charge you per hour if you did retain them. And generally, in my area, attorneys get paid between $300 and $425 an hour. It has been explained to me in the past that the fee that an attorney will charge you per hour to litigate your case is based on what the market will bear. So you might be in a city where the market will only bear $200 or $225 an hour. So it just depends where you are, where you live. Will sort of, depending on where you live, that drives the cost of what an attorney might be. And so if you're in a market where generally you call around and the fees are, between $300 and $400 an hour, and then you come across an attorney that's $200 an hour, run the opposite direction, because that attorney should be able to charge relatively the same amount of money. And if they're not, there might be a reason. It will be worth interviewing between 3 to 4 attorneys, even though that might cost you, anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 in order to interview. But in my opinion, it is so worth it to do that because I had a couple of bad attorneys, and it's because I selected the first one who I went to talk with. So, it's really important that you pay that money for their consultation time so that you can really interview them and make sure that they're the right one for your case. So when you come to those meetings, it's important that you be prepared so you can get the most out of that hour. And if you find that an hour is not enough, then ask them for another hour. If you find out of the 4 that you interviewed that 2 are worth, a little bit more time, I would pay again to talk with them, because selecting the attorney is the single most important step you will take in your journey against a narcissist. It's it's the most important step to take. And in that interview, it's important to ask, tell me about your experience in litigating against a narcissist. If they don't have that experience, then that attorney is not for you. And if they say, oh, I have tons of experience, ask them, okay, what are the characteristics that a narcissist will display in court? And they should be able to tell you that they are pathological liars. They should be able to tell you that they get lost in the details and want everybody else to get lost in the details. They will not be direct in court. They will try to dance around a topic. They will bring witnesses that will tell the court that they're, almost like Mother Teresa, but when you poke holes in the witness's testimony, they were just used by the narcissist. And so there's a term used with narcissists, with the people around them, they're called flying monkeys. And oftentimes they will bring these flying monkeys to court who will do and say anything the narcissist wants them to do and say. And so your attorney, this potential attorney, should be able to talk about that, maybe not use the term flying monkeys, but be able to talk about how they use people in court. The attorney should also be able to talk about the chaos that a narcissist will bring to a court case. So that's kind of how you can tell whether or not they have the experience or not. And it would be helpful if they talked about not necessarily like details of a previous case, but be able to talk in general terms about a case that they were successful in litigating against a narcissist. Another thing that you need to ask them about their cross-examination style. Are they more laid back? Are they more aggressive? And you want to hear something along the lines of being aggressive, almost attacking the narcissist, because they have to go in and refute the lies that the narcissist is telling, and they can't be afraid to do that. Your goal with an attorney during cross-examination is to attack the credibility of the narcissist. And so you want to hear about that style, and you want to hear from that potential attorney that they are quick on their feet and are able to really go in and refute what the narcissist is saying. So there's not a right or wrong answer when you're asking them about their cross-examination style, but I think you'll be able to tell based on the words that the potential attorney uses whether or not that's going to be a good fit. So another question you need to ask them is, how do they go about preparing for a trial against a narcissist? And what you're looking for them to say is that they dedicate tons of time to the preparation because they know how many lies the narcissist will say, and so it takes time to get all that evidence together. And so you want to hear things like, I'll dedicate the time. I keep a very organized system when I'm going to court. Here's what I do with the files, and here's how I go about preparing. So this is probably not unlike most trials that they have to prepare, but you're looking for the attorney to say that it's going to take a lot of time against a narcissist. So it could be a little bit expensive, and so you want to hear words like that. And so it's really important that he spend the time necessary to prepare. So those are just some tips for how to interview a potential attorney that you are hoping to select for your case against a narcissist. And again, there's no right or wrong answers necessarily when you're interviewing them, but in the previous video that I referenced earlier, I talked about all the 17 characteristics that attorney must possess, and you could also ask questions around those 17 characteristics. I would encourage you to watch that video if you haven't already. And so those are the tips that I wanted to share with you. Selecting the attorney, again, is the most important step you will take on this journey against a narcissist. Thank you, and I hope you'll stop by the channel again, and please leave a comment below if you like this content, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.